What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and yesterday I went to see the new Marvel movie, Love and Thunder. And I was very excited about seeing that movie. And while I was off seeing 4, Phoenix, when it got revealed for the Marvel Champions card game. Okay, it was like 10 minutes before I left. I didn't have time to do that yesterday. Boo hiss, etc. But Phoenix looks awesome. So let's have a chat today, shall we? So we've got Phoenix, we've got Jean Grey, and this is maybe the most interesting hero pack we've seen so far, and I do not say that lightly. So Jean Grey then, we got a recovery of 3, hit points of 9, hand size of 6, low hit points, but that's to be expected. And during setup, you put your Phoenix Force upgrade into play, restrain side face up, and you place 4 power counters on it. And then after you make a basic recovery, you place 1 power counter on Phoenix Force. We'll get there in a minute, don't worry. Now moving over to Phoenix, you've got thwart of 3, attack of 1, defense of 2. So you want to be thwarting more than you want to be attacking here. And you've got a hero resource psionic bond, remove a power counter from Phoenix Force to generate an any type resource. So, you're placing power counters on Phoenix Force, but you can take them away to generate resources. So what is Phoenix Force then? Well, on Restrained, it is permanent, and you have the Restrain trait that interacts with cards we'll see in a moment. And after the last power counter is removed, flip this card. Remember, you're removing power counters to generate resources as Phoenix, but you're putting them on when you recover as Jean Grey. But then we get to Phoenix Force Unleashed, which gives you the Unleashed trait. It lowers your thwart by 2 when your attack goes up by 2, i.e. it swaps them around so you're attacking, not thwarting. And after a power counter is placed here, if there are 4 or more power counters, you flip this card. I.e. you place power counters to keep yourself restrained to do lots of good thwarting, or you keep power counters off so that you get big attack and end up being unleashed. Because the cards you've got get kinda good. So we've got White Hot Room, a support with an alter ego action, exhaust White Hot Room, and you either place a power counter on Phoenix Force or heal 2 damage. Remember, you're placing power counters to keep yourself restrained. Phoenix Suit gives you the aerial trait, and if you've got the restrain trait, you gain steady, which is to say you need 2 stun or confused cards to actually be stunned or confused. And while you've got the Unleash trait, you gain Retaliate 1, so you deal a damage when you get attacked. So again, you can really change how you're playing here, depending on what you want to do with Phoenix Suit. But then we've got cards like Psychic Blast. Deal 4 damage to the villain. If you have the Unleash trait, you also deal 4 damage to each minion engaged with you. In some games, that is going to be absolutely devastating for the villain. That is potentially amazing. And then similarly, we've got Telepathic Trickery. Remove 4 threat from a scheme. If you have the Unleash trait, stun and confuse an enemy. So we've got cards here that become really, really good if you're unleashed. There is a huge downside to being unleashed. We'll get there in a moment. You've got Phoenix Firebird, a 1-cost event that lets you either remove a power counter and ready Phoenix. Really good if you want to be unleashed, because again, you want to keep power counters off, and then readying means more uses. Or you place 2 power counters on Phoenix Force to try and keep yourself nice and restrained. Now, there are some other cards we can talk about from Phoenix. We got Mind Control, a very expensive 4-cost upgrade. You attach it to a non-elite minion, take control of them, and treat it as a controlled ally with a blank tech box and thwart equal to its printed scheme, and it takes 1 consequential damage after it thwarts or attacks. So if you find a minion here with really high thwart or attack, or scheme or attack, then you can take control of them, and you've got a ridiculously powerful ally. Telekinetic Shield can be attached to a friendly character. It's a 2-cost upgrade. When the attached character would take damage from an enemy attack, you place the damage here instead, until there's 5, in which case it gets discarded. Now, Rise from the Ashes is maybe the most broken card in the deck. It's the thing that, I was reading through these cards and I'm like, oh, that looks good, what? And that was my reaction when I got to Rise from the Ashes. A 3-cost upgrade. When you would be defeated, remove this card from the game. It's a one-time deal, it has to be. Ready your identity and restore it to its printed hit point value instead. Remove each power counter from Phoenix Force. Yeah. So you come out fully ready to go, fully unleashed because there's no power counters on there, completely healed and ready. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, you do come out the box as a Justice character here. So we got the ally Banshee we can take a little bit of a look at. 2 thwart or attack taking 1 consequential damage is really nice. However, 4 cost 3 health I'm not loving. I don't like when the cost is higher than the health. But after the Banshee thwarts, you can fuse a minion. So you know what? 2 thwart, only taking 1 damage, and you can fuse a minion at the same time to stop them thwarting or scheming. Yeah, I'm down with that, ladies and gentlemen. Marvel Girl, you got 3 cost 3 health, 2 thwart taking a damage, 1 attack taking a damage. But when Marvel Girl attacks a minion, you remove the same amount of threat from the main scheme as that minion's printed scheme. So generally, if you've got 2 thwart, 1 attack, I'm going to be thwarting, but no. Because if the minion, let's say they've got a scheme of 3, I deal 1 damage while removing 3 threat from the main scheme. That's ridiculous. This is clearly a very, very powerful deck out of the box. Now, Mission Training is a 1-cost upgrade. Now, it's a training upgrade like we saw before. You can only have 1 of them per ally, but you get +1 thwart and +2 hit points. So, basically, if you want an ally that's going to sit there and thwart, oh yeah, this is the upgrade for you. Now, Swift Retribution is an interesting 1-cost event. The villain schemes, that's a bad thing. Deal 4 damage to the villain. So you make them scheme, which is potentially very bad, although there's usually a few points in the game where the villain scheming really doesn't matter. Or maybe they're confused so it fails anyway. But then you deal 4 damage to them? Yes. Psychic Manipulation is a 3-cost event that you can only play if your identity has the psionic trait. And it's got an interrupt thwart when the villain schemes. This activation removes threat instead of placing it. So if you can try and find a way for your villain to, have some one just really big scheme, this can be phenomenal. Also, fairly obvious combo of Swift Retribution. Make them scheme, then play Psychic Manipulation, so they're actually removing threat while you deal 4 damage. You got to have both cards in hand. You got to pay 4 to use it, okay? It's not always going to work, but oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, when it does, it's going to be beautiful. Now, Mutant Peacekeepers is a 1-cost event that you can only play if your identity has the X-Men trait. You exhaust your hero and any number of X-Men allies, and remove X threat from among the schemes in play, where X is a total thwart of those characters. This is always really good. You can basically thwart with your minions here without having to take consequential damage. That's why you would want to do this. Of course, you can thwart with all of your individual characters. You're having to rest them or exhaust them anyway, but you don't have to take consequential damage, which is huge. And before we get to the really bad thing here, Cerebro. A 1-cost support that can only be used if you got the mutant trait. Exhaust Cerebro, search the top 5 cards of your deck for an X-Man ally, and add it to your hand. You still have to play it properly. Or, if you've got the psionic trait on your character, or on any of your characters in fact, search your whole deck. Yeah, 1 cost to search for any ally you like is clearly redonk. But I said there was a downside to being unleashed. And there is. Because you've got the obligation Burning Hunger. When revealed, if you have the Unleash trait, search the encounter deck, discard pile and set aside area for Dark Phoenix and reveal her. Then remove Burning Hunger from the game, so this can only happen once. If you have the Restrain trait, remove a power counter from Phoenix Force, get you closer to being unleashed, and this card gains Surge, and you just discard it. So basically, the obligation only really works if you're unleashed. and you end up with one of the most brutal minions we've seen. Dark Phoenix. 2 scheme, 2 attack, 12 health, and it's got steady, so you need to confuse or stun twice in order for it to actually work. And it's got toughness, which means that it comes out with a tough counter, which is kind of harsh. And it's got villainous, which means it gets a face down boost card when it activates. Like the villain would. Basically, it's basically having a second villain on the field. Because it's got health like a villain, and it's getting boost cards. It's basically a second villain. It is one of the roughest minions we've seen in terms of having to play against it. This is the downside. But that's not even all of it. Because when revealed, you search the encounter deck, discard pile, and set aside area for Consume the World, and reveal it. Consume the World is a permanent side scheme that comes out with 6 threat already on it. And it's got Amplify, which means when a boost card is turned face up during an enemy activation, add an additional boost icon, which is harsh. Although while there's no threat here, it loses that. So basically, not only is Dark Phoenix getting a boost card, it's getting a boosted boost card. And oh yeah, if there's 12 threat here, you lose. And it's permanent. How harsh is that? And that's kind of the point. Unleashed Phoenix is clearly a brilliant character, and some of the cards are like full on busted. But if Dark Phoenix and Consume the World come out, the game becomes just ridiculously harder. So it's a real challenge. Do you just go balls to the wall and go, you know what? If it happens, it happens. Try again next time. Although that's really not in the spirit of it. If you just kind of ignore Dark Phoenix and give up if it comes out, that's not really how the game's supposed to be played. Or do you just go super cagey? Or do you pick your times? Do you go full Unleashed Phoenix when you can, but dial it back other times? I don't know. I'm just really excited to play with this card. This looks like a really fun hero pack. I'm hyped, but I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Weiss. That's where we talk about Marvel Champions and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.